Numerology Secrets, Life Path Number 4, the complete guide. Before we get started, if you'd like to know your life path, soul urge and destiny numbers, click the link in the description below. What is life path number 4? The life path number, also known as the destiny number, is the number that results from the numerological reduction of your date of birth. It offers insight about the core of your personality, and will also give you a greater understanding of the pathway to success in your life. In numerology, 4 is the number of stability, like the 4 corners of a square, the 4 traditional elements, the 4 seasons, or the 4 wheels of a car. It is a practical, functional number, associated with practical, functional people. The destiny number 4 has a highly practical and down-to-earth approach to life, rarely given to flights of fancy or desire for the unattainable. You are determined and driven, not for success in the way that a 1 is, but for a stable and orderly life. Money is not important to you, but financial stability is, fame isn't, but respect is, being the CEO of a company isn't, but doing your job well, however low on the totem pole it might be, is. In mathematics, 4 is the first positive non-prime number, that is, the first positive number that can be divided by something besides itself and 1. This indicates your ability to work well and constructively with others. You are an excellent team player, and very good at taking directions and sticking to a plan. However, you can become very frustrated with people who obviously aren't putting in the same kind of effort that you are. You don't take kindly to picking up other people's slack, and while you won't let work go undone, you will seriously balk, and rightly so, if someone who flaked on you asks you to do something else for them in the future. You have a strong sense of ethics, and are not willing to compromise them for much. People can sometimes perceive this as you being a stick in the mud, but this isn't a perspective that tends to bother you much. People who feel this way aren't usually ones you're very interested in having in your life anyway. You have a legendary ability to resist peer pressure. Marketers hate people like you because it's virtually impossible to talk you into buying something you don't need. You're extremely sensible, and if an idea seems bad, it doesn't matter how many people are trying to tell you otherwise. It is important that those on Life Path 4 find ways to relax and open up, especially about their ideas. You have many good, innovative, and even imaginative ideas, but don't often share them with others because you're staying focused on the work that other people have told you to do. This is a great loss for the world. Your ideas would make things much better if you just admit that you were thinking about something other than the tasks you were assigned once in a while. No one would be anything but grateful. Life path number 4 in love and romance. Because of your incredibly practical outlook on life, romance doesn't necessarily come very naturally to a 4. You aren't much for grand, sweeping gestures, and neither summer flings nor fairy tale weddings are exactly your idea of a good time. Your path meaning ensures that you approach relationships like you approach just about everything else in life, sensibly. When you're looking for a partner, you have a very realistic outlook on what you want. In fact, unlike many other numbers, you probably don't have much need for reading this section, because you're already quite confident in your knowledge of what you want in a partner. Lasting, steady relationships are important to you. Many 4s don't enjoy being alone, and are eager to start families. Make sure you find someone who takes this as seriously as you do. You don't have many aspirations of finding your one true love, and instead believe that compatible people need to work in order to have a successful relationship. Because of this, the people you will be most successful in relationships with are ones who are willing to work as hard as you are for it. You are particularly well suited to relationships with 1s, since they share your determination, and couple it with razor-sharp focus. If a 1 decides that he wants your relationship to last, you will never have to worry about him putting any priority higher than you. 8 is also a very well-suited number for relationships with 4s. 8s are highly goal-oriented, and will inject a little bit of traditional romance into your relationship without losing sight of the practical steps necessary to get there. For example, an 8 might want a big, fancy wedding at a cathedral with hundreds of guests. The aesthetic might be crazy, but you can bet that the 8 will have dozens of perfectly organized spreadsheets, a watertight budget, and an infallible guest list that ensures the whole thing goes off without a hitch. This is amazing for a 4, and can help you loosen up a little by teaching you that sometimes being practical doesn't have to mean not going for big things. When you are seeking a romance, it may seem fun, in theory, to hook up with someone a little crazier. You can give it a shot. Everyone is different, after all, but in general, it doesn't take long for a 4's patience to wear thin with someone who doesn't have their feet planted firmly on the ground. Number 4s are generally not well suited to the wayward 3 or restless 5, since neither of them will take kindly to your desire to impose restrictions on their behavior, and you will quickly become fed up with their tendencies to disappear, give up on difficult tasks, or generally flake out on you. There's no reason to put yourself through a romance with someone who doesn't share your sense of dedication. Firmly ignore anyone who tells you that this makes you boring. They only understand what works for them, not what works for you. A note, remember, as always, that numerological compatibility is not a substitute for the human factor that makes all of us unique. If it were as easy as compatible destiny numbers, you might as well be the exact same person as anyone born on the same day. Always take personal variations into account. Life path number 4 in careers and business. The qualities of a 4 make them excellent fixtures in almost any business or workplace. Every boss will want workers like you, because you are so dedicated and reliable. You work steadily on tasks you are assigned, and shoulder responsibility well. Although you probably don't have many grand designs on becoming CEO, 4s rise quickly in the ranks of any profession they enter. Do make sure that supervisors or bosses aren't taking advantage of your work ethic. Make sure that your contracts include provisions for overtime, because you're definitely the type to clock a lot of overtime hours, and you should, of course, be compensated for them. If there is a risk involved in a 4 getting a good job and working steadily on it, it's a sense of complacency. In numerology, 4 represents all forms of stability, and it's not a particularly well-suited sign to change or movement. This is great in some ways, because you'll never dump a project out of boredom, but it also means that you can become completely cut off from new opportunities. It's like you have blinders on, and can only see what's on the path you're already on. Don't allow yourself to forget to look for new things. It doesn't have to mean giving up what you have, but sometimes there really is a new opportunity that's better. This is especially true when you find yourself doing work that you find personally unfulfilling. 4s have a great ability to grit their teeth and bear even the most boring or painful work, but that ability to keep focus sometimes leads you to refuse to change paths, because that would be like admitting defeat. There are times when the devil you know truly isn't better than the devil you don't, and you would be much happier if you simply allowed yourself to change paths. The teaching of skills is also associated with the number 4, meaning that you would make an excellent teacher or instructor. You are a natural for any position that requires you to explain or pass on skills to others. 4s aren't necessarily drawn to jobs as teachers in the traditional sense. You may actually have difficulty relating to children, because you have trouble understanding their child logic. However, you will always be drawn to training positions in whatever field you happen to go into. There is something very pleasing to you about showing a new person how something works, and then having them prove that they've mastered it. Volunteer work can also be extremely fulfilling to 4s. You especially enjoy logistical or organizational roles in volunteer organizations, because you can use your practical skills to do more good in the world, which appeals to your ethical sensibilities. No matter how you choose to use your time, you are certain to achieve phenomenal success through your incredible sense of dedication and your ability to work through even the toughest problems. Allow yourself just a little bit of flexibility to complement that, and you will never have difficulty achieving success in your work. Finding fulfillment on life path number 4. In contrast to result-oriented numbers like 1 and 8, fulfillment for 4s comes through hard work, rather than the external awards that hard work can result in. This is an extremely positive thing, because it means that you can find fulfillment in almost every situation you might be in. It is surprising to many people that 4s are among the most optimistic numbers. On the whole, your extreme practicality would have many people thinking you should be dull and cynical. Not so. 4's motto could practically be, do what you can, with what you have, where you are, which means that you can see the light in almost any situation, and no matter how bad things are, you can find happiness through hard work. Even when a situation is objectively terrible, you can find happiness in the process of trying to get out of it. The periods that are most depressing for 4s are those where they feel useless or helpless. Obviously, feeling like you can't do anything isn't fun for anyone, but 4s feel uselessness most acutely. Sickness, injury, being between jobs, or even vacations leave 4s antsy to the point of borderline insanity. Pro tip for families and spouses of 4s: a surprise holiday to a tropical resort is not going to help your 4 relax. Find hobbies that make you feel productive, even when you're not working. Knitting or sewing can be great because the results are instantly visible. Blogging is also a very popular pastime, since it keeps 4s mentally stimulated while also allowing them to reflect a bit on their lives. People are definitely going to call you a workaholic at various points in your life. It's annoying, but unavoidable. Some people just can't accept that others might find happiness in being a hard worker, and they'll try to tell you to change your life so that it fits better with their idea of a good work-life balance. True, it's important that you find time to do some things besides your work, but it's up to you to decide what to do, when, and for how long, not anyone else's arbitrary ideas of how much time it's acceptable to spend on your job. While it's great to spend lots of time on your job, do try to take a little more time than you may currently be taking to spend time with other people. Whether these people are your immediate family, your friends, or your co-workers, you do need some human interaction in your life. 4s have a tendency to isolate themselves, because your sense of hard work both monopolizes your time and pushes away lesser achieving types. But this isn't how it has to be. Schedule in some time for social interaction, and you will find yourself feeling more inspired and energetic, maybe even willing to take a few more risks than you were before. Final thoughts. The numerology definition of 4 highlights your practical, stable, and hard-working personality. It is a very auspicious destiny number to have in the modern world, where work ethic is so precious, and stability so hard to come by. Your hard work gives you a sense of purpose, and makes you a dependable and trustworthy person in almost every situation possible. Partners and friends will appreciate that as much as employers. You seek stability and security in your relationships, as well as in your career. In fact, the drive for stability is behind many of your decisions, and is one of the reasons that you have difficulty deviating from a path once you're on it. Not only do you tend to become almost unconscious of the world outside your path, but you can become the slave of a nagging fear that, if you go off the rails, whatever is off them is much worse than what you currently have, and you'll be left helpless and alone. By conquering this fear, you can continue to use your legendary work ethic, while not wasting your psychic energy on work or people that you hate. Just because you committed to a project or a person once doesn't mean that they need to be part of your life forever. You have the skills to succeed in almost any situation, so there's really no reason for you to fear that the rug will be yanked out from under you if you make any kind of change. I should mention that for a practical 4, numerology may not even seem like the most useful tool. You may have read this whole article with a certain amount of skepticism, which is fair. However, you shouldn't discount the role of numerology completely. It can be just one of many tools that you use in order to achieve your goals in life. Can you feel the power of your life path number 4? Are you a tireless worker who can make the best of any situation, as long as you feel like you are actually working through it? Do you have a highly practical outlook on relationships that makes fairy tale trappings seem unappealing? I know you're willing to work for what you want out of life, but do you know what you want out of life? How will you harness your destiny number's natural energy to fulfill your goals and reach your dreams? Please like this video if you found it useful or enjoyable. Share it to share the advice contained here with other people who share your life path number.